everyone, thank you so much for joining me back here on my channel. You're probably wondering, what the fuck? Okay, I am going to be doing a celebrity recreation makeup video. That's not great English, but it's okay. So for today's look, with all the getup and everything, I am going to do a recreation of Kourtney Kardashian's makeup that was featured on the cover of Vogue Arabia. So obviously, as you can see, I don't have the exact same like items as her, but I mean, I'm trying, and I even tried to like do my hair in a very futuristic Vogue-y kind of way. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. The artist who created this look for her, the artist's name is Miyaki Artist on Instagram. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll link her name or her IG down in the description bar. But she basically does a lot of makeup for Kourtney Kardashian specifically, as well as other celebrities. And I just thought it would be really nice to recreate this look because it's very, very pretty and it's fairly easy to recreate. And I think all in all, it's just such a beautiful look. I did check on Miyaki's Instagram to kind of see what products she used, and obviously it wasn't really listed down below what she used, but she specifically tagged MAC Cosmetics and MAC Pro, so obviously that's the brand that she used. So yes, we're going to recreate this today. So if you want to learn how to do this look for yourself, then let's head straight into the video. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to move this weird strand of hair out the way so I can actually, you know, do my face. So before we get started, I just want to do a little bit of eye cream because my eyes are still super sore from when I had them lifted the other day, because they taped my eyes to all heck to keep them closed, so it really hurts. So I'm going to go in with this eye cream from Isabella Garcia. It's called that. It's in French, I don't know how to say it, but luckily they've translated it to an eye cream, so that's what we're using today. It's a newish product, so I don't quite know how this works, but we'll give it a go. So I'm just gonna rub this in underneath my eyes here. So for eye cream, you don't want to push it right up underneath the lash line. You want to keep it down here because this is where your drainage system is for your eyes. You don't want to take it too far, because also in doing that, no product is going to there. So we're going to go in with some eye primer. I'm using Paintpot from MAC, and I'm going to buff that in with my my JH30 brush. That went far. And we're going to prime all over. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with some Focus translucent powder from MAC, and I'm just going to use this just to set my primer. I'm going to keep in with the JH30 brush. And then just to set that so that we have a nice smooth base to work off of. Okay, so I was looking at her photo, and the eye shape or the eyeshadow style that went into her eye, I'm sucking hard at English today, but anyway, so the shape that the eyeshadow took on her eye is kind of like a piggy in the middle or a center cut crease, but not really, because the shadows don't meet in the crease. It's very much just in a corner and outer corner, and it's very just slowly coming into the center of the eye. So that's what we're going to do. And the actual color is very lavender on Kourtney, the eyeshadows that we use. Now, of course, obviously, I don't know precisely what eyeshadows or what products were used by MAC. All I know is that that was the brand that was tagged into the photo, so there we go. So for the transition shade today, I'm going to go in with my Inglot Freedom palette, and I'm going to pick up this lilac-y, it's not even really a lilac, it's this weird purpley bluey sort of shade here. I don't know what it's called because everything has some weird code to it, but that's the shadow I'm going to be using, and I'll link the code down below for you guys. And then I'm just going to buff that in with a 286 brush. So with this, like I said, this is not going to go into the crease. We're going to kind of use this as a very light base shadow or transition shade to kind of start the outer corner and inner corner blending. So let's start with the outer corner. So I'm just pushing this in. So for now this does look a little blue, but it's okay because the eyeshadows we're going to use over top will bring it back to that lavender sort of color. And no, I said they used MAC to obviously do this look, but I don't have that color in a MAC eyeshadow personally myself. So that's why I went in with Inglot before y'all come for me, because... Okay, so the next eyeshadow I'm going to go in with is from my Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette with Morphe. And I'm going to go in with this shade right here. It's called Therapy Sesh, because it is a lavender purple, and I know in the photo it doesn't look this bright, but we are going to use this sparingly. We're not going to use a lot of it because it is going to come out super bright, and hopefully the Inglot shade that I have down on my eyes first will kind of just mute it out as well. And I don't understand why I'm cleaning this brush, because this is what I used for Therapy Sesh the last time. So I'm going to use a 239 a 239 brush to apply this Therapy Sesh, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to quite take it up into the crease just yet. I'm going to focus everything on the lid and then diffuse it out, because this is not a super bright look, like I said. Cool, so now that I have Therapy Sesh down, I'm going to go back in with that 286 that has the teensiest bit of that indigo Inglot shade on, and I'm going to use that to begin to blend out Therapy Sesh. Just remember that these two corners don't meet in the center, and even if you do, it's fine. It's not going to ruin the look. You would just need to use something in your center to divide up that corner again, to divide up that center again. I swear I know how to speak English, it's just not really verbalizing and manifesting itself today. I feel like I'm speaking in cursive. Okay, so I'm just very gently bluffing that out. Time out. I'm gently blending this color out. I'm literally not putting any pressure down whatsoever, like almost nothing. And my hand's like right at the end of my brush too, so it should sort of kind of look like that. I know mine looks a teensy bit dark. The next eyeshadow I'm going to go in with is definitely going to give it that super lavendery iridescent sort of finish. So I'm going to go in with my double custom palette from MAC using my blue purple side. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with this top eyeshadow here. It's called Beautiful Iris. I don't think MAC makes this eyeshadow anymore, but if I find something similar to it, then I'll link that down below, but I'm almost certain this is discontinued or part of their 40% discounted sale right now. It's one of the two things, but I'll find it for you. I'm going to take my 286 brush from MAC, and with Beautiful Iris, I'm going to pack and blend this out over all the previous eyeshadows that we have put down. It's going to do the same thing to the inner corner. The artist did take this color right into this inner corner, almost kind of just tickling the tear duct. Okay, so now that we have that Beautiful Iris down, we are going to go back and deepen it, but first let's do the center. So for the center, it is quite a light center that she has, and when I say center, I mean this gap that we've created for ourselves, but there is also a little inkling of shimmer. I know they used gloss on the eye because I can see it being very super reflective from the camera light. But I'm almost certain some form of a shimmer was used, or a pressed pigment, or just something like that. And even if there wasn't, that's how I'm looking at the photo. I'm going to go in with this mini pigment from MAC. It's called Kitchmas. That took forever. So basically this pigment is sort of like a very light pinky silver. And I'm going to use that in the center of my lid. And then just picking up a 239. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack this into the center. I'm just going to place it first. And then using my finger, I'm going to blend that in. Because if I blend it in with a brush, I'm going to be adding more than what I need. And I only need a touch of Kitchmas. Touch of the pigment. Okay, so in the photo, the lash line on the outer corners and inner corners have been deepened just the tiniest bit. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go in with my double palette from MAC, and I'm going to pick up the tiniest little bit of this deep purple eyeshadow here. This is Indian Ink. It's a pro eyeshadow if I'm not mistaken. And then just using the edge of my 239 brush, I'm just going to push that color in right up along the lash line, just to deepen it the tiniest bit, because I can see the tiniest little bit of depth in the eye. Going in with my 286, I'm just going to soften it ever so slightly. So pretty much kind of like that. Some sort of black liner was definitely used in the lash line, but only on the top lid. There's nothing down at the bottom. So for that, I'm going to go in with Feline pencil. Great. And I'm going to apply that with a 210 brush. So I'm just going to load up this brush against the pencil. It is a super soft pencil, so it's easy to work with, it's easy to blend out. It is going to smudge slightly, but we are going to tight line our lash line with this, so it won't move all that much, hopefully, because this was just used as an accent. It's not a very thick line on the eye whatsoever. Tight against my lid, and I'm just going to start wiggling this in to my lash line, keeping it super thin. It's quite an intense black pencil as well, so you don't need to really go over it a couple of times. You can use liquid if you prefer. I don't know what was used, but I know that since Feline is quite an intense black, that's what I wanted to use. Okay, so I had a little peek at the photo again, and I did make the liner a little thick, but it's okay. The liner is present, but only at the at the end, and it doesn't come all the way down into the inner corner, but you know what, it's fine. This is how I'm translating the photo. So let's just... okay, so definitely in the photo she doesn't wear lashes, so I'm just gonna do coat of mascara, and I'm going to use my Haute Naughty Black Lash 2 to do that. I'm going to use the non-glitter side, the thin opening, because my lashes are already super curled and lifted, and her lashes, well, the lashes that they did on her in the photo aren't super chunky. They're very defined and like lengthened and things. So that's why I'm using this end of the brush to give me some length and definition. Okay, so we'll come back to finishing under the eye. Let's head over to skin. I'm using the Fix Plus from the Petal Power collection, and this is in the scent Cherry Blossom. I'm still trying to decide if I like the scent of this or not. Blech. Okay, so the skin in the photo is quite airbrushed, but I'm not saying that it's been photoshopped or anything to look airbrush. It's just the techniques and the products that were used give a sort of airbrush effect. It is definitely full coverage. There's very little to no imperfections coming through on the skin. It's also a matte finish, but there is a slight sheen or a tiny bit of a gleam on the face. So I don't know if that was accomplished through a highlighter or primers or some sort of groundwork. So I'm just going to do the skin how I think it would look, or how I would translate it in the photo. So bear with me. So with that, I'm going to go in with my Becca Backlight priming filter. I'm going to buff this in with a 188 brush from MAC. The reason why I selected this product is because it does give the skin not quite a dewy sort of wet look on the skin. It's more of a lit from within, so it kind of looks like your skin just has this amazing natural healthy glow to it. So you can see it's not super metallic. It just looks like my skin is well looked after and kept, kind of like, you know, I drink 6 liters of water a day, even though I don't. I can only manage 2. When I apply foundation over top of this, I just ate my brush. Product tastes good. It's not going to make my skin look oily or super shiny per se. It's just gonna make it look glowy from within, lit from within, and super ethereal. Okay, I am going to go in with a second primer, and that is the Tatcha Silk Canvas from Tatcha, obviously. And the reason why I'm applying this is because I want to smooth out certain areas in my skin, because unlike Kourtney, I do have imperfections in my skin. So I just want to kind of flatten those out so that I have a very smooth base to work off of. So I want to like smooth over some blemishes. I want to fill in the scar on my nose, and the scar there, and the scar on my head, and the scar there. It's a long story. Let's not get into why I have so many scars on my face. So I'm just going to buff that in with my JH30 brush. I'm just going to use a small brush to really just work this product in. You can use your fingers. I do, or would rather recommend your fingers. But since I'm working in a really small area, small areas, I'm just here to blur out certain places. I'm going to take this up over my nose because I have ginormous pores on my nose. I know. Okay, so my choice of foundation today is my Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation. Powder foundation. I'm using this, and it's in the shade NC20, and I wanted to use a liquid foundation from MAC, but to be frank with y'all, I don't have a full coverage foundation from MAC, so like the Studio Fixes and the Sculpts and Match Masters and things like that, because because like I said, I'm not a full coverage kind of person, so this is the best thing I have for some kind of coverage, so that's what I'm going to do. But before I do get into that, I should actually do my concealer first, hey? So let's do that first. So I'm going to go in with my Studio Fix 24 Hour Smoothwear Concealer. I am in the shade NW24. And I am going to use this underneath my eyes to give myself a highlighted effect. So we're just going to do that weird triangle thing underneath the eyes. I'm also going to use a little bit of that on my nose because I do get a lot of redness there. Cover up the blemish there, cover up the blemish there, cover up the blemish there, cover up the blemishes down here, here and there. And then of course the scars on my face and some of the redness there. So now that we look like street art, I'm going to buff that out with my JH30 brush, and I'm just going to push the little bits of concealer in first. This concealer, I'm going to go in with my 270 concealer brush from MAC, and I'm going to begin to push this concealer in. Okay, so now we can go into our powder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz my skin first with Fix Plus, and then using my 138 brush I'm going to push the powder into my Fix Plus so that we still maintain some of that glow that we have on from the primers and things that we've used before, but it's not entirely matte and it's not completely one-dimensional. So I'm going to give my skin a bit of a spritz, and as it's settling and drying out on my skin, I'm going to very quickly just pick up some of my powder foundation and just begin to push that into the Fix Plus as it's settling. And by doing this, by pushing a powder into something slightly damp, you are creating a very light or very thin paste of foundation. So it's still going to have a powder finish, but it's not going to be overly full coverage. It's still going to be quite sheer. You're still going to be able to see your skin's texture through, but it's going to be a more perfected version of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another quick spritz, and as that's drying, my Fix Plus, and while that's drying I'm going to push that in, and this is what's just going to solidify your powder foundation. If you are using a powder foundation and you want to make it more very airbrushed and very perfected, you can go back in with that translucent finishing powder. In fact, let me do it so I can just show you. And with this, because it's a no color powder, I'm going to pick a little bit up with my brush, tap off the excess, and I'm going to use that to go over my skin. And what this powder does, it acts as like kind of like a perfecting setting powder, and by pushing this over your skin, you're giving your skin the most airbrushed sort of effect. And you can go in with another bit of Fix Plus. I'm going to give it a skip because I've already got that on. So if you want, it works especially if you're using powder foundation. You can either apply a layer of this first and then go in with your powder foundation, or you can do what I did, apply a layer of your powder foundation and then go in with the finishing powder, and you will see how smooth and how perfected your face will look after that. Let's get into these brows. So mine are laminated, so I'm just brushing them through with a spoolie. First, can I hit puberty please? in the photo with Kourtney, her brows aren't extremely done. Of course, she has really nice thick full brows, but they have been feathered out. So to me, it kind of looks like a gel was used to brush through them, and then kind of a pencil pen effect was used to fill in gaps. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my MAC Eyebrows Big Boost Fiber Gel Brow Gel in the shade Fling. They don't need to be brushed through, but I do like setting them with the gel because it just makes it easier for me. I'm going to go in with my MAC Shape and Shade Tint, also in the shade Fling. So this is the pen that has the eyeshadow rubber tip and then the filter pen at the end, and this is the tip we're going to use. And we are going to use this to mimic the hair. And to just fill in any gaps that I have in my brows. I'm not going to restructure the shape of my brows or anything like that. I'm literally just using this pen to fill in the gaps and to give myself a slightly fuller brow. Okay, so before moving on to finishing the eyes, I'm just going to stick on a bit of lip conditioner to condition my lips, because we are going in with a matte lipstick. Okay, so let's get to finishing the eyes. So in the waterline, some kind of cream or white pencil was definitely used to fill in the waterline, because that area is definitely lighter than the rest of the eye. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in with my Studio Chromagraphic pencil in the shade NW25 and NC30. You can see it's quite lovely, loved and used, I mean. So I'm just going to line this in my waterline. If you don't have this kind of pencil, then you can definitely use a white eyeliner. But sometimes a cream just actually looks more natural. I don't know if you can see that cream pencil has just opened up the eyes a little bit more and given it more light to the space. So going back in with my double palette, I am going to pick up a little bit of that dark purple shade that we had on before, called Indian Ink, using my 239 brush again. And what we're going to do is we're going to place the tiniest amount just on the outer corners. So using the flat edge of my 239 brush, I'm just going to wiggle this product in there. Or for the bottom waterline, it's the same sort of thing as the top. It doesn't meet in the center, but there is definitely some depth in the outer corner, and then it's blown out with the beautiful iris. So I'm just going to clean off the 239 as much as I can, and then using my 239 I'm going to go in with beautiful iris, and I'm going to use that to blend that out. And beautiful iris is going to come down a little bit lower. Than that Indian Ink. And then going in with that 286, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that beautiful iris, and we are just going to blend and diffuse and soften that out, round it out to connect to the top. Because the bottom lash line is not as diffused as the top, so it doesn't come all the way down, it's just kind of softened in that lash line area. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with the inner corner, just taking that 239 and some beautiful iris and blending that out at the bottom. Trying to leave a bit of that center open as well. And then just taking my 286 and softening all of that. Okay, so then going back in with that Kitchmas pigment, I'm going to place a little bit of that with the same 239 brush in the center here as well, so that we can carry that shimmer story through. Cool, perfect, so just like that. And then I'm also going to use Kitchmas as an inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to place some of that right in there. And through there. Okay, so for the skin today, I am going to go in with this Studio Effects Sculpt and Shape Contour Palette, the light to medium one. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit of emphasize and accentuate together to create a highlight underneath my eyes. So to do that, I'm going to go in with my JH30 brush again. I'm just going to mix the two up, a little bit of both. And I'm just going to push this in underneath this area here, just to do a very subtle highlight. I'm going to keep with this palette, but because she had a very subtle cool tone contour, she didn't wear any blush by the looks of things. She had it just kind of sculpting out her cheekbone and was very, very pulled back. It didn't come all the way down to like really chisel her face. It was just at the high point to give her face some structure. So that's what I am going to do as well. The color I am going to go in with is this one that is almost done. You can see this one's my favorite. It's called Sculpt. Nope, sorry, this one's called Tauped. And to apply that, I'm going to use my 109 contour brush from MAC. And I'm just going to push this in first and then blend it out. But I'm keeping it right underneath my cheekbone there. And I'm only going to take it down to about there because that's kind of where they stop for Kourtney. Obviously her face shape is a lot longer than mine. So I should actually be contouring for my face shape, but because this is what was done, this is what I'm going to do too. And then I'm going to do the lightest whisper in my forehead because I see there is a slight shadow on her forehead, so I'm going to just use whatever is left on my brush and just put that into my forehead there. And then I'm also going to use the tiniest bit just to do my jawline because they have a more defined jawline than me and I don't have a jawline, I just have a double chin. So I'm just going to do the same thing too. And I'm just going to do the tiniest bit down the sides of my nose just for a slight shadow. I don't want it to be super obvious. And I know it's not quite in the photo, but I just feel like I need just that little bit of a contour down the side of my nose, nothing hectic. And obviously because I'm using a fluffy brush, it's not going to be super intense. Okay, so for highlights today, because it doesn't really look like they used a highlighter on her per se, it just kind of looks like her skin's glowing. I am going to use a very subtle highlighter, but not really, but I am. So the subtlest highlight I have is the Mineralize Skinfinish in Soft and Gentle from MAC. And I'm just going to be very, very specific in where I place this because in the photo all the light is in the center. But her face does kind of have a sort of gleam. So I'm going to use a very small brush to achieve that. So I'm going to use my JH30 to do that. I'm just going to pick up a bit, tap off as much as I can, and I'm just going to ever so slightly dust it over the high points of my face. Because the highlighter kind of hits her in this area here, because obviously of the way they took the photo. So I'm going to try and do the same thing, but not make it look overpowering. So she doesn't quite have a metallic finish to her skin. It's definitely matte, but it's a very subtle sort of highlight. So kind of that effect that you're seeing there. And then I'm just going to run a little bit of this through my brow bone as well for highlight. Okay, so last but not least, because I still have to put eyeglass on my eyes, but I wanted to do that like very end because eyeglass sucks to wear. I'm just going to prime my lips with a bit of lip base. The matte they have on her is very close to her skin tone, but they definitely did mix it in with some sort of a lip pencil. So I'm going to first apply my lipstick. I'm going to use the Love You Back lipstick from MAC. It's in a matte finish because the lips do look super matte. And this lipstick matches my skin almost completely. Okay, and then the lip pencil I'm going to go in with is my Oak lip liner from MAC, and I'm just going to use this to line my lips and just bring it in slightly because it looks like they have created a shadow in the inner, and they've kind of ombre the lips, so the corners of the lips are a lot deeper. Okay, I'm just going to dot a bit of my lipstick down the center one more time. I feel like I've kind of lost it. Okay, the horrible part. Let's get into this eyeglass. I love wearing eyeglass. I just hate that it's so sticky and that it makes my lids sore, especially since my lids are already so sore, but beauty is pain. The product I'm going in with today is a product that is specifically for the eyes. I'm not taking like a lip gloss and putting that on my eyes. This is a specific gloss for the eyes. And I'm going in with the Studio Eyeglass from MAC in the shade Lightly Tauped. I'm not quite sure if they do this anymore because I bought mine as part of a collection. But I know the Pro Store might have this. I think, maybe. So the trick to making this less sticky, or what I got told to do to make it less sticky, is to just decant a little bit of it out. So just use like the end of your brush. I'm just going to put it in the lid, and you can either sit here and warm this up with your finger, like sit and rub it back and forth with your finger. But what I got taught to do is to take some of your eye cream, which is what I'm going to do, and just put the tiniest little, that's not tiny at all, but whatever, put the tiniest little blob in with the gel or the glass and mix that together. So you'll still get the glossy effect once the cream has dissolved into your eye, but it will be less sticky. So one thing to remember when applying any kind of gloss to your eye, be it an eyeglass or not, is that it is going to ruin your makeup. Gloss on anything moves, it travels. There's nothing you can do about it. That's just the way gloss works. But where we are going to place it is going to be super specific. Because if I look at her photo, if I look at this one here, it's super concentrated just in the center of the lid. So that is exactly where I'm going to put it. And because eyeglass travels, I'm not going to put it right up against that liner. I'm going to keep it up here so that when it does warm up and move and slides down, it's not going to get very far, because I don't have a lot on my eye. Okay, so there we go. Let's do this. So I'm just patting it on, because obviously you cannot rub this stuff on your eye. It's super sticky. Oh, okay, so that just looks beautiful. Okay, I need to clean my hands and then I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so this is pretty much the completed look. I went and stuck on some earrings so that we can be super editorial, and just kind of fixed my hair that was falling out, but it kind of works. Anyway, so this is the completed look. I hope you really enjoyed today's recreation, and I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, if we just hold up this photo one more time, we could totally be sisters, I think. But anyway, so that is that for this tutorial. So yeah, I had a lot of fun recreating this look. I don't often do celebrity recreation makeup things and stuff, but I think I probably should, because that's where most of my inspiration pretty much comes from, is like looking at a celebrity and going, ooh, that's really pretty, I think I can do that. So yes, okay, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to click the little notification bell so that anytime I do post, you are the first to know and can be the first to watch. And anything over and above that, I think that is it. Have a great one further, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Cracky.